Welcome to the Journey Mindfulness podcast, where the inner world meets the infinite. I'm James O'Neill, and together we explore consciousness, the soul, mindfulness, and the mysteries beyond our world, and most importantly, how to integrate all of it into the life you're living right now. Welcome to the Journey Mindfulness podcast. I'm thrilled to have with us today Debbi Dachinger, an international best-selling author, shamanic energy practitioner, and the host of the award-winning Dare to Dream podcast for the past 17 years. Debbi dedicates her work to helping creators and spiritual messengers share their transformative messages throughout the world, writing and through media. Her own journey spans shamanic healing, exploration of consciousness, and speaking on stages around the globe. Debbi, it is wonderful to have you here to share your wisdom and inspiring story with our listeners. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, James. And I am vibing off of all this beautiful sacred geometry behind you and the books. Like, actually, everything behind you has a vibration, and I feel myself really settling in. So I am thrilled to connect with you as well. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, it's a pleasure. And Debbi, you've spent, 17 years, maybe more. You help people. You are yourself a powerful creator being, but that is kind of what you do is you steward other people as well. It's one of the many hats that you wear. What first called you to this work? Was there a moment when you knew that this was your path?
It was a journey. It was a journey. There wasn't a moment, but I had moments that were reference points because, excuse me, I was very much a media person. I had my podcast, Dare to Dream. And at the same time, I was coaching people how to write a book. I was doing publicity work, getting people booked on podcasts. And I got a call that was very unexpected. And it was from deep within me that recommended that I start engaging with ayahuasca. And I really was very closed off to it. But when these things come in a very divine way, there's a different feeling. It's not like a suggestion or a nudge. There is like a knowing that comes with it. So I surrendered to that and I began to engage. And one of my many, and this is many years ago, one of my many experiences, I went out of country. I did 4 nights back-to-back, different types of ayahuasca. Lots of healing, lots of amazing experiences. And on top of it, starting the first evening, I had an energy that was source energy speak to me. It's very feminine. And she said, Debbi, you're a healer. You're a shaman. You're a priestess. And these words were, as far as relating to me, very confusing. I was in that world. I was deeply spiritual. I was drinking at the moment with these extraordinary shamanic beings, but these beings had spent decades in the jungles. These beings have been chosen by their lineage and by spirit. They had gone through rites of passage I couldn't imagine. So that alone was very strange. I'm like, I'm drinking. What is that? The healer part. Many people who came on my show or were friends with me were healers, but I didn't see that in myself. So I argued, and starting night 2, she came back again, said the same thing. You're a healer, shaman, priestess. And she began to show me aspects of myself. Well, night after night, she came and said the same thing. I had many divine experiences within this, including her unrelentingly telling me I needed to get a blessing from the shaman before I left, that I was a shaman. And it felt embarrassing at the time, but because she wouldn't let up, I finally just relinquished control, asked for what she said I should ask for. Oops. And beautifully enough, the shaman said yes. Came back to the United States, told a very gifted friend of mine who immediately said, we need to do some regression work and understand this confusion for you. And God bless him because he changed my path. He was one of the beginnings besides this divine voice. And this aspect of the regressions, I absolutely and immediately saw myself as a male shaman in one session, in another session, super skinny and tall, over 7 feet tall, um, poised and powerful in a way I'd never experienced a human on this planet. And I wanted to understand her better because she was the priestess of her people. Excuse me.
Mm.
And she lived in a temple, and it was made known to me Mayan. And so I was asking her mostly about her abilities because I wanted also to understand if this is an aspect of me, how do I manifest like that? How do I be like that? Because it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And she very kindly corrected all my assumptions and said, I'm not from here. I'm from another galaxy and I'm from another species. Now, at the time, I was a non believer in extraterrestrials, complete skeptic about UFOs. So this was pretty shocking. But again, that moment where I felt the truth, I had met myself. How could I deny that? So when I came out with more information, I decided the next step, I must open myself up to this. And because I didn't know any other way to do it, I started seeking out shamans. And first, I worked with this beautiful Peruvian shaman in the mountains for 8 months, and we had extraordinary experiences doing journeys. And then I started working with a Peruvian shaman for 6 months. And I actually got certified. And so I was fascinated to learn more about it here. But what happened was all of me changed drastically because there's a lot of shamanic healing work and going to other realms and becoming a hollow bone. And while I'm doing this work and working on people as part of the program, stuff is changing in me radically. And then I start receiving all these downloads, information, connections, and I'm shifting my show, my podcast, because I'm so curious about extraterrestrials. So I'm becoming edified there. And this sort of explodes open the journey for me. So it's a big moment. It took place over a couple of years, but there were those pockets where something happened that illuminated more what was happening, why it was happening, or a new direction to go.
Well, that powerful moment of surrender where you're faced with perhaps an aspect of yourself and trying to make sense of that, and it completely alters the course of your journey and maybe even collapses your timeline, or you heal
Mm.
your timeline as you kind of accelerate through your own awakening.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. I never thought of it like that. But when I hear you say that, James, I know that's true. I'm not who I was before. I'm not where I was before. Opportunities are present today on this timeline that are extraordinary. And I'm very I'm in love with this life that I'm in right now. I couldn't have dreamt it, although I'm pretty sure my soul was aware. And I am so grateful for the people who showed up, the shamans, the healer who did those regressions, and absolutely the divine, the source energy who had so much to work with. Because I was a skeptic. I was open-minded, but I was a big eye roller about lots of things. So I'm like, she's telling me this stuff. I'm like,
Well, I think Ruben Langdon. We talk about like it's easy to doubt UFOs until you see one. And then you can't, no matter what, how rational you are, it's like, all right, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, right? It's like, it's out now. We can't go back.
Very true. Ruben's a friend of mine. And I think all of us, and probably you, right? And probably people who are watching or listening to us right now, can look at times in their lives when there was a huge pivot, when something else was presented. And if we know enough to surrender or at least be curious about it, and if not those two, then follow energy. That's one thing I've been able to do in my life is follow energy. When something percolates, even if it's completely unknown or confusing, just to say, oh, I don't know what this is, but I feel something inside of me and it feels a little interested or excited about this. It could mean nothing, it could go nowhere, but I have to at least find out. And that's been massive changes multiple times in my life.
That is being very mindful though, because
Mm.
there's all these subtle signs. You know, you talk about the energy, but the energy is always there. We're just not always paying attention to it.
Yeah, I think we all have our wheelhouse. And that, I guess, is one of mine. Is, I can walk on the street. It's very interesting to me, or in crowds or situations, and I can have my boyfriend or a friend say to me, "Oh my God, did you see that person? They had the coolest tattoos," or "Oh, whoa, did you see that outfit?" And I'm like thinking, where was I? I didn't see that at all. And they just passed by, and so I know that people see these big pictures in ways or notice details like that outside of them. I think I'm very self aware of what's happening inside of me. And if it's not inside, and I'm just recognizing this in the moment as I'm saying this to you, a bit of an aha. Or if it's outside of me, then it's engaging with that aspect of me inside that is interested, that is, I don't look for these things, but I'm open to them. Thank God. Because if I'm an open minded skeptic, I'm really glad I'm also super open to things that present. And there's a lot of times that things will present and it's a flat line for me. I'm like, well, no, I'm just not feeling it at all. And there's other times where I'm like, there's an opportunity here somehow. And, I was thinking about this morning too, because I know like numbers are really important these days. How many numbers do you have on social? How many numbers do you have on your podcast? It's a little exhausting. And I was just feeling like that just doesn't always matter because, for instance, I was thinking about being with you and I was feeling gratitude that I've had people over the years who have said to me, I heard you interviewed on, and it's something from a long time ago, but as you and I know in podcast world, it's out there forevermore. Amen. As though it's evergreen, as though it's happening now and people can still click in and
Yeah.
listen. And it's amazing, this modality. And I was just feeling gratitude for the people who have found me, book clients. I have an amazing book client I'm working with right now, crazy about this guy and what he's creating. And all the success that's coming to him as we're working together. And then I have people come to me for PR stuff. Still, I have a hand in that. And then I have people who come to me for the shaman healing, who engage. I do a once a month program where for 90 minutes I work on the group and it's pretty profound. And so they find me in these ways. And I was just thinking that stuff we're taught, I don't think that matters. I just think you need to resonate with the right person out there who hears you and goes, I want more of that. I want to work with that person, know that person. So I'm grateful for platforms like yours and all of what's possible.
I think what inspires me a lot and what drew me to you too is this concept of, I was listening to a previous episode that you had with Addison Ames, who channels Metatron. And he was just talking about how what a powerful, like your energy and how powerful of a being you are. But that light that you carry helps spawn all these other lights too. It's like you're helping to turn them on, right? Like you help facilitate that in the in like the daily life of people, right? It's like integrating that energy. And so there's a propulsion, right? Or this, it keeps going, which was fascinating, right? Like just the impact that you can have on people just by being you.
Thank you. We all have a light, and it is, I mean, besides coming here to have fun and experience love and probably heal some stuff, on top of that, our light is meant for something, and it's really different for each of us. And I truly believe that when we connect with the path that is meant for us, what we're good at, what we love to do, where we impact people, and that could be anything, any realm at all. It doesn't have to be visible. Then I think your light shines really well and people respond really well. I know I'm doing what I need to do. I was not always here. I mean, once upon a time, I worked at NASA, which for most people, they would knock people over to get into that company, that government organization. But it wasn't like that for me. I mean, there were aspects I really loved, but it was not where I was supposed to be. And I've done many jobs like that in my previous life where I was doing it for the wrong reasons, but mostly because I didn't believe in myself, like to go out on my own. That was huge. And then I did it. And of course, that's an uptake too, to start learning, oh my God, how do you market and business and make money? And I have a lot of grace for all those different sectors in my life. And I just know like one of the things I've been very interested in lately is the gene keys, Gene, which was created by this genius, Richard
Richard
Rudd.
Rudd.
He really is a genius, right? I mean, what he downloaded, I don't even understand the breadth of that download for so many different people, where you were born, when you were born, the time you were born, and then all the different, like, I'll call them bubbles for the different portions of your life. But I wish I had the sheet in front of me. I'd show you. I have a packet this big that I was just highlighting on my trip out of country because I really wanted to learn about the shadow of
Hmm.
me that derails my gift. Because Richard says when you heal that shadow aspect, you step into the siddhi, the SIDDHI aspect of you, and you can fully own your shadow as well as transform it even more into your brilliance. And I thought, I'll have some of that, please. So I was reading it, and it's like, wow, it says definitely what I've experienced, the things that have held me back, for sure, and or given me an experience I don't prefer. And as it kept talking about my siddhi, I could also see concurrently, this is so interesting. I've got a foot in both worlds. It is way less in the shadow than it certainly was when I was a kid, teenager, all the things. But there's so much that's been healed in that realm, which allows the siddhi to become so much bigger and more expressive. And yet there's still some tendrils. And I'm really willing to look at that. And interesting, some people who are listening will probably laugh, but a lot of what would heal my shadow, it says like almost over and over and over again, is stillness. And it doesn't have to be meditation. I'm aware of that. It could be my shamanic practices. There are many wonderful things I've done over the years, but it is asking me to be consistent. I'm being really
Hmm.
transparent here.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
yeah, it's really saying, if you will do this, my love, we will give you that. You were built to supersede these wounds, and the wounds that drive you and the overwhelm that you create. And some of the, the stress and the fear, like I totally get that. Some of those are aspects of what I experienced, the trauma growing up. Some of that is what I saw. A lot of that is what I rejected, that I saw in those that raised me. And I thought, I don't ever want to be like that. And guess what? You know, then you replicate it instead of loving and appreciating that aspect. And so here I am at this juncture in my lineage, and I get to heal it. I get to be the one who's responsible for it, for everybody who came before me, and also to redefine the quality of my life.
Yeah, that's very powerful to be aware that you can heal or stop generational trauma or this ancestral stuff that's been going on forever and transmute it into a more loving creation in this world. And it's fascinating that you say that, because one of the things I was going to ask you about is, as a shamanic energy practitioner, you have all these hats. You're a best-selling author, podcast host, you are a singer. How do you stay, to your point about stillness, grounded, wearing all those hats and doing all, you have all these balls in the air?
I am a really grounded person. I am, period. I also have a very strong relationship with Mother Earth. I am aware of, oh my gosh, what word do I even use? That she lives and breathes and is aware of me. I have a very strong bond with her. I think I'm naturally very rooted and fortunate in that. Nothing really interferes. And there are times I have to switch lanes. The best example is probably singing, because my partner and I do gigs. A lot of transformational people will bring us to their retreats. We do very uplifting songs. They're very fun and they're very heartwarming. So when we do that, I have to rehearse. And that means that things just change. I know there's a certain time I have to end my work. There's a certain time I need to eat dinner. And there's a certain amount of days I know, because I've been singing since I'm, you know, 0 years old. So I know what it takes for us to get there and for me to be very comfortable with the music and the program we put together for the event. That's the best example, but it's about reprioritizing at the time. And it does keep changing. And I have been engaging also with the universe, my highest self at this time, because I'm really aware of what takes the most out of my day and out of my being. Every result is joyous. I actually love everything I do when I have clients. I really attract great people because they say you attract yourself. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it very egoistic. I mean very spiritual people, very people who are hungry and will do the work, people who want to get ahead. I want to write that book. I want to be a bestseller. I want to be interviewed. Like, they're excited and they're great to work with. So they're in my tribe, I guess is what I mean. And so that is also joyous. All these aspects are great, but I am starting to become clear that there are certain things that need to change. And so I've been talking, with my reality basically, and putting out some ideas about how that could shift, and always ending it with, or something better. Because this is what my mind is conceiving, but you may have, because you often do, you may have some ideas for me that in my wildest dreams I wouldn't conceive, but that would serve me so much better so I can do the mission I came here to do and be. And I'm very open to that right now. And maybe that's reading the gene keys. Maybe the gene keys also came at a time when I'm like, I'm feeling the need to pivot, because I really am,
Yeah.
energetically. And it's a perfect time on this planet for me, for everybody to do that, for reevaluate.
Um, I would agree. I think we're there, right? Yeah, that's a maybe a great segue into, yeah, how do you see sort of the landscape right now? I mean, in the transition, some of the people in my world, I try telling, whether I say use the word ascension or shift, or it's just a transition period for a lot of people. But it's a great time to work on yourself and find a way to level up or change things in your life.
Yes, that's such a beautiful and big question. And so much came up when you were saying that. You are correct, 1,000% correct. And I think all of us alive right now can sense certainly the change outside, but there wouldn't be change on the outside or chaos if it wasn't on the inside. And so, just to start, we're living in 2025, the year of the wooden snake. And in shamanic terms, the snake is the only being or animal, if you will, that crawls on its belly, that doesn't have limbs. And every time the snake has outgrown its shell, it knows it has to release its skin. And so the snake will find a rock and it will edge its face against the rock to create a tear. And from that one tiny tear, it will keep wriggling on its belly in order to, in one movement, release its entire skin on the path and then keep going because it's just been reborn. That is such a beautiful illusion for all of us right now. We are all being called to let go, release, surrender what doesn't work, let go of who doesn't work, situations, places, issues, patterns, everything from inside of us not serving, everything outside of us not serving. And if that wasn't enough, if the universe didn't get our attention like that, they also made this a 9 year. You add 2 + 2 + 5, 2025, that's a 9 year. What is nine about? Completion of things, ending of things. You do see a lot of endings. You see marriages ending, you see people's jobs ending, you see people moving, you see everything that could have to do with an ending happening. You see it out in the world too.
Mhm.
So we are being 1,000% supported. Let go, but do the work. Like you said, take a look. Even if you don't know the how to get to the other side of something, these relationships, those situations, that money, that thing that I keep doing, that job thing that I keep doing, that blah, 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 that way that I keep being angry, being anxious, being fearful, being what, fill in the blank. It's no longer serving you. Now, I'll tell you, this is so important. We are not being asked. It's a little bit of a commandment because next year, 2026, is the year of the horse. 2026, first of all, that's a number one, beginnings, starting. You can't start something if you don't have the capacity to begin it. You can't bring something new in your life if you have not let go of the old. So this is a gift we're being given. Let go. Trust the process that you're going to be given lots of new opportunities and joyful things and people and abundance and all of that in the 1 year, maybe earlier, because you'll be ready to start bringing it in. And the year of the horse, and I'm into animal spirit medicine shamanically, the year of the horse is about freedom. It's about, galloping. It's about adventure. I mean, it's going to be a beautiful year, potentially, if we're letting go. So, shamanically, I look at all of this and I look at all of what's going on also galactically because both worlds for me are one,
Yeah.
the cosmos and the shamanic, which is sort of as above, so below. It's very beautiful, but they are very interchangeable too. And I look at this like I hold so much hope And I know that's rare, but I really feel and believe that this needs to happen. What may appear to be very unstable conditions, that it needs to occur for us again to have the beginnings. We're shaking out all the stuff, seeing things about people and situations we didn't know were going on. The underbelly's coming up to be healed and
Yeah.
for new choices to be made. So I think we're living in radical times. And I believe strongly that each of our souls was aware when we were given the choice. Oh, you want to go down there when? Well, if you want to do that, that's going to be quite a time. Ascension sounds grand, but there's going to be a lot that goes on, a lot of thickness and density before you can rise above and change densities and dimensions and all of that, become part of the galactic community. But we all said yes. So we have to remember to be the light we came here to be in our own way. Remember you're the light worker. Remember you had a mission. And especially during times, if you perceive them to be darkness, be the light. Best thing you can do.
Yeah. Wow, you you laid that out pretty articulately. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was talking to Peter Maxwell Slattery, and he brought up the example of cymatics and the sand on the plate and like frequency, and how you can just have a pile of sand, but when the frequency hits it, you almost get this sacred geometry, these amazing, beautiful patterns. But in between the pile of sand and that beautiful pattern, the sand is just, it has to get there and it's pure chaos. At the end of it is hope. It's beautiful. But that's where we are right now. Like this shifting is taking place. And I just thought it was you know, a fitting example of, okay, you know, it is perhaps rare, but I think that's why it's even more important to have these co-creations or these conversations where we share this information or this hope or this light with other people. Yes, looking around you, it could seem a certain way, but do the work. If there is perhaps freedom coming up quickly, on the other side of this shortly. So thank you for sharing that about the year of the horse and freedom. That sounds like I'm looking forward to that.
It's so cool. I love that you use that and that your guests use this because I don't know if do you know who Paul Hynek is?
I've heard the name. I'm not familiar too much with
He
the.
was the son of a very, very famous man. And everybody says that, but I
Oh
have to
wait,
say, Paul is quite famous in his own right.
I'm
Paul,
sorry. J. Allen Hynek's son?
yes,
Or
yes,
oh, okay, never mind. I do know who you're talking
exactly.
about.
Exactly. Very good. And he's a friend of mine. I've been to his house. I'm going to his house again Saturday night, in fact. And he has that gizmo that you're
Oh,
talking
really?
about. And so I was envisioning while you said that, because it's amazing. I never seen one up close. Now I've seen a couple of them, but he determines, it might be also Bluetooth. He does it on his phone. Anyway, it's like it looks like it's next to a chair. I don't know how to describe it because you wouldn't really want to put anything on it, but it's got wood and it's got glass, and then all the sand is in it. And so I think he tells it what to do. You can do a labyrinth, it could do a lotus flower, all these things. And you're so right. There's a vibration and a frequency from just sand, static sand, that suddenly becomes something beautiful. And what's very interesting is it doesn't happen like that. It takes time. We go do something else, and then it could be hours and hours, and it's still working on it and becoming that. And it is a great illusion that you mentioned, because that's exactly what we're in. We're not going to go from just being what we were to suddenly, ta-da, ascended, and everything's great and we have harmony and peace. This is where we are shifting and becoming until we are this beautiful picture. And what may be ours in that sand frequency device could be decades and decades for us. We are certainly building something, I like to believe, beautiful for our children and our children's children. And I know the children who are being born right now are very special, very
Yes.
gifted.
Please mention a little bit more about that.
You know, it's such an exciting time, James, because I've known this for a long time. Well, let's just talk about the disability first, and then we'll cover all the kids. But um, I have known for a very, very long time. And what does that mean in human terms? For me, that is like probably 15 years. Yeah, about 15 years. I've known that all the things they gave labels to, like bipolar, autistic, ADD, ADHD, etc., that these are geniuses.
Yeah.
There's something brilliant in there just because they're different and process different and have different wiring. They're definitely not less than. They have their own genius. So I've been really well aware of that and the whole telepathy thing with
Yeah.
autistic children, and to boot with children in general right now. I watch these videos of, for instance, there's this little boy, and his mom posts videos of him on Instagram, and he's talking about all his galactic past lives. He came in with full memory. And there's all these kids, they have higher gifts, higher knowing. There's something else going on. I mean, I would say, like, at least two generations before them, they were tapped into technology. They understood computers, phones, like scary, just completely innate abilities. Now,
Yeah.
this really young generation, they've called them rainbow children, they've called them all sorts of things, but they're the ones inheriting, and they're coming in with the goods, the abilities. I believe they're
Yeah.
psychic. I believe they're telepathic. I believe they're knowing. I believe they're going to be just beautiful to take over.
It's absolutely true. Probably maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I met a woman who had remembered vividly a past life, but just one. And then a few years after that, I met a child who remembered all of his past lives. And that blew me away. Like, and I had just gotten into QHHT and doing past life regressions and things like that. But I had only ever heard of one other person, Matthias DeStefano, that had made that. I won't say claim. I mean, like I believe it, but um, but then to meet someone who does, remembers that, and it's these children are coming in. I think Mary Rodwell calls them the letter children, but like they're like the saving grace, right? Like they're coming in to tip the scales, and there's this brilliance to them that is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these are important things to hold on to, because if your reality is and your inner world is what you put your attention on, if you shift your attention to these incredibly hopeful, exciting things, then, your reality will change, your inner world will change. So, yes, this is one of many things that give me great hope.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and just to put it in maybe context, when you have a child, it's not, researching how to deceive you. It is just telling you about past lives and all these beautiful things and angelics and colors and the galaxy. It is utterly fascinating. It's as a a therapist to even be in the room, like I'm in awe to even to hear it. It's a beautiful thing and quite real.
Yeah, I've often wondered why I was born when I was born. When I look at what's coming up, a lot of my friends, not all, but I have a lot of friends who are younger. I meet some unbelievable people. I did in the beginning through ceremony, and then, in later years through events where I speak at. And they're just amazing people on this planet right now. And I've often thought, that was an interesting choice. Why, why did my soul choose all of this? And then sometimes I think, because I relate so much to them, so much to their openness, their lack of limitations, their rejection of a lot of the things we grew up in, our parents and our parents' parents, that they're like, no, I'm not going to live my life that way. And I admire it. I really do. So the only thing I've been able to come up with, and of course I got to wait till I'm on the other side to fully know, but the only thing I've come up with is, you needed to lead the way at this time. This is a big time. And like me and like all of us who are here to be leaders, healers, way showers, we need your voice, and you got another job after this one to get on
Yeah,
to.
don't worry. It's funny as you were saying that. That's the thought that I was having was someone had to pave the way, and you could tell with your energy that you would, embrace, like it's easy to look back and maybe from someone on the outside and be like, why would you not embrace that, right? Like, listen, we need someone who is strong enough to do this. Would you do that? And like Dare to Dream, the book next to you, right? Like, yeah, I'll do it. I could totally see that. And I often ask myself that question too. Like, all right, you chose to come here at this time for a reason, and you wouldn't have come here if you didn't want to. So embrace it, even when it's not looking great.
Yeah, that's so funny. I think sometimes also like, woo, this is great. Just think how much like issues and situations I'm like, check, 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 check. I'll be so clean by the time I get to my next concurrent multidimensional life. It'll be like, let's just have fun.
Yeah, I need a breather.
I don't, yeah, I kind of feel like it is going to I took on some big stuff this life. I do feel like it's going to be much nicer. And it's interesting that you do the QHHT. I just worked with somebody, and although she does that, I didn't want a full QHHT, but I did want to do a little hypnosis with her. Uh, it was so beautiful, James, the situation. I'm never fully sure, like, oh, is someone going to be able to get me there? Like, what is that going to be like? And it was beautiful because I was a dragon, and I could still see exactly what I look like. But way more important than that was how it felt to be me. I was very much, there was a lot of solitary in it, but with joy. Like I loved being alone. I loved flying. I loved, everything I did in that hypnosis experience was incredibly joyous. When I felt the desire to connect, I allowed myself to find a safe place to land. And there were other beings that don't look anything like us who I was able to connect with and, get affection and love and connection. I had to be very careful because I was huge, and my tail easily took alone, not to mention the wings and everything else, but easily took out things. I had a great love of blowing fire, just to blow fire because I could. But my just joy of being exactly who I was so amazing. And I did feel that freedom. I felt enormous freedom. In fact, it was a great lesson for me in what I shared with you earlier about the stillness, because there was no place to be, nothing to do. It was in the moment, this sense of, I'd like to be with some people now. I'd like to be in some water. I'd like to be on a mountaintop. I'd like to fly. Whatever it was, I was able to go do it in that moment. And it was beautiful, as long as it
Yeah,
was beautiful. And there are great lessons in it for me. I know I have always known that I've been with dragons in concurrent lifetimes, and that I've had friends and very deep, nurturing, protective relationships with dragons. But I never imagined that I had been a dragon. And
That's so fascinating. Were you able to pinpoint like where that might have been or when that might have been? That's
you
a
know,
big question.
it's a big question. We didn't go there, and I wouldn't know the name, although perhaps if I had asked, something would have been given to me.
Hmm.
I know it was not here. It didn't look
Yeah.
anything like here. And there were a lot of elements and other beings when I did engage with them that were not in human form, humanoid form. They were in very different. Um,
Yeah. When I did my first past life regression, I was skeptical, like what is, who knows? And that's probably why I was successful with it because I wasn't expecting anything. But at one point I didn't know what I was. And the therapist asked me, and like you have your name behind you, like the words, that like a sign flashed and gave me a name. And I was like, oh my gosh.
that's
Like I could not have come up with that.
wow, that is
It was,
so powerful. And did you look up the name?
oh yeah, absolutely. So I was getting images of the pyramids, but they looked different. The color, they looked like fresher, newer, cleaner, like whiter. And the name was Bedouin. So I looked up afterwards. I started Googling because I'm in my head, I'm thinking Bedouin and pyramids, like that doesn't make any sense at all. But when I Googled it, it was like different Bedouin tribes, and there were Bedouin tribes like that are in that area. Like I can't remember how many different tribes or groups, but they were there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. It's just interesting.
That's very exciting when you can find that kind of proof to solidify that, oh
Mhm.
yeah, no, that actually happened. They were there. And did you know what time frame you had been in?
It's a good question. I don't know. It was definitely like several hundred years ago. It was not recent. Um, that was the impression I got, but it was a hard life, and it was interesting because how it more or less related to this life was that it was a very difficult life, very violent in the caravan, that culture, that was the caravans are very dangerous. And um, identifying people who were in my current life that were in that life, that was interesting too. Um, and then in this life, after 9/11, I became a Peace Corps volunteer instead of going into the army or something like that and fighting. So it was this transformation of like being a warrior and being more violent into a more peaceful and benevolent nature, becoming a therapist, a helper, a healer, that type of thing.
Wow. So you got the message. That's so beautiful that you're able to connect that. I love the fact, first, that your soul had that experience as a Bedouin. Uh, and that next you were able to transcend that and said, well, I know how that turns out. I know what that feels like. I want a different, higher choice. So you're aligned with that now. And I also love that you were able to see that, like, connect that with an actual lifetime and see it play out with some of the same people in your life now, then. That's very powerful, because I think it's more difficult if we see aspects of ourselves in various lifetimes and we're like, oh, I'm doing the same thing, or not much has changed, or I did that then too. I think making different choices is really powerful for
Yeah.
ourselves and, the collective and all of that.
Yeah, you alter the path. But you, in the beginning of this conversation, you mentioned that you came face to face with an aspect of you from from elsewhere. I was curious, where was that being from? Or do you know?
It's so interesting because for the longest time, And maybe still now, I thought, well, because was identified as Maya, Maya. And so the vision was like a pyramid in the jungle where she lived. Now, what's interesting is that the inside of that pyramid, it didn't look like anything you probably, because I've been to pyramids here, I've been to the Mayan jungles, I've been to Teotihuacan, I've been to, many of these places. They don't look like what I saw there. And it was very futuristic, very minimalistic. Had technology we don't have here. She was a technologist that is not like here. And like I said, over 7 feet tall and skinny in a way you wouldn't want to see a human, but it was beautiful on her. And then years later, I was at an Adam Apollo retreat. We played music for the retreat. And Adam was talking about these people. And when he started, he's the best. He's so phenomenal at graphics. He's a level that it's very impressive, the visuals he provides. And he really gives you a sense of the people, the galactic people and their environment, their home and all dress and all of this. And so he was showing these people, and all of a sudden I thought, wow, they are so tall and skinny, like this aspect of me, this feminine aspect of me was. And I believe it was from a planet called Yakubian. Also, I've done a lot of shows with Debbie Solaris. She's a friend of mine. She's a galactic historian, and she's also a channel. She's pretty amazing. And she was saying, Deb, this very well might have been a lifetime of yours that was Pleiadian, because in the Pleiades, they've got a planet that is Maia, and a lot of the indigenous and the shamans come from there. So I do not have confirmation about who she is, all of that. I mean, like where she was from, timelines, anything like that. And it's so interesting. I don't have a lot of curiosity about it. I
Yeah.
really don't. I have a lot of peace around this. And kind of like you with your past life, for me also to see that there are aspects of me that have existed at such tremendously high levels. She really was very impressive, didn't have to say much, incredibly poised. I mean, she was regal. And I saw her. I don't even know in this reality how to describe this creation ability she had. But I know I was very taken with it.
Yeah.
And I guess what's interesting is that I have had people throughout my life, friends who have said, my God, how you manifest. How do you do that? How do you, I'm still not her. She was amazing, but I have something in me that is a little akin to that.
Yeah. Was curious. If I was gonna guess, I was gonna guess Lyran, but
She's not Lyran. She's not Lyran, but of course, like, look at me. I mean, and by the way, my hair is very tame right now. I put a lot of nurturing stuff in it, although the curls are mine, but it is typically like a mane. I just came back from this photo shoot, and the camera director was like, can you like do this to your hair? I said, no, buddy, this is it. It's like, this is real. But yes, I have profound connections to Lyra. I have seen the lion beings. The lion beings are always with me, protecting me. They are my family. Often when, pardon me, I've had people who are trans channels, and you see them do, they can do, I have a friend who does this on stage. He's very well known. And I've never seen him do a Lyran. Never. He's done all these other beings. And the moment I went up to ask him something, I mean, it's incredible to see a trans channel change like that. Their
Hmm.
physicality, their voice, their cadence, their energy. That's wild that a human is that open to allow all that to happen. And it is real. And my entire Lyran family came to talk to me about some changes that are coming and to let
Oh,
me know,
nice.
yeah, they're always here. And I really feel them. I really love them. And I'm very honored to come from the lion beings. I think they're a cool group of courageous, family oriented, fierce leaders.
Yeah. Well, uh, have you may know of Jacqueline Smith. She does these starseed origin readings, and so allegedly that's where I come from in one aspect as well. So
Oh, my Lyran brother. That is so beautiful. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be proud of, but also for people who don't know the Lyrans, the lion beings, which it's not just, it's also the felines. I mean, there were a lot of, just like on Earth, there's a lot of different looking species also on that planet. There's a lot of different species of derivative of the cat, let's say. And we are Lyrans, the original human template. So humans were born from the Lyrans. Now, original template, many other things happen along the way to concoct who we become today. But yes, so in one shape or form, everybody's got this in them. And we owe them a debt of gratitude for being the first. And at the same time, then people will have different variations of starseed. And by the way, I'll mention this. If people are like, well, what am I? Am
yeah,
I a
yeah,
Tyrian? Am I Orion? Am I a praying mantis? Am I an octopus being? Am I a Pleiadian? Am I a Syrian? I mean, we could go on and on. An avian, all of it. I did a big video and a report to gift people with starseed information so you can find out who, what, where you are and better understand all this amazing information. Go to my website and get the gift for free if you'd like to know your ancestral galactic lineage. And it's at debbidachinger.com/starseed. Spell my name right, Debbi, no E, Dachinger. So it's DEBBIDACHINGER.com/starseed and have fun figuring out where you're from. It's got everything in it.
yeah. You have a number of wonderful resources on your web. Do you have more than one website, or is that the main one that I'll
No,
link
I'm
to?
going to have another website built. I have to, like, I feel it in my bones. So I'm going to do the Galactic Shaman website. And I'm really excited for that because that's becoming a huge part of my life. I'm being asked to be interviewed on documentaries, on stage. I'm speaking on stages around the world for years. I'm continuing to do it. I'm being interviewed on wonderful podcasts like yours. And this appears to be with the awakening of the world, the call, right? The message for this
Yeah,
conversation. And so I will have one of those built in the next 6 months. But right now it's debbidachinger.com. And the other thing I have on there is because my life was so ensconced in media and in teaching people. If you want to get your message out there, here's how to do your book. Here's how to create a bestseller. Here's how to get interviewed. So they can get that at debbidachinger.com/gift. Yes. And then you'll get a couple of videos and templates and things. Even the template is like, how do you put together your message? Because people don't realize, but if you go to a networking meeting or you're interviewed or many situations where you have one sentence to say, this is who I am, this is what I do, and have impact. So people lean in and want to know more. So you can get that at debbidachinger.com/gift.
It's wonderful. I've taken one of your courses. There's more work to be done with you to get my message out. But it's wonderful, and you do a lot of wonderful work with a lot of incredible creator beings in this time and space.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I hope we do more work together too, because you are, my I hate calling you a student because you're my colleague, but you're my avatar, right? You're very on the path and very open and clearly have something wonderful that's only yours. It's only your blueprint that you have to offer. And I tell people that, people like, oh, why should I write a book? I mean, for instance, there's a million books on money. Yeah, but nobody's going to present that information like you will. Nobody's had the journey you've had. Nobody knows the ahas and takeaways you've received on your journey. Nobody knows what's created your success in whatever realm it is. And also, we all talk so differently. We express ourselves so differently. Some people talk really fast. Some people talk more reflectively. Some people, in between. Some people are funny. Some people are, have these great allegories all across the board or a mixture. And that's going to come out in your book or whatever it is you're creating. So you got to trust your blueprint has a stamp, has a way of getting out there that people who resonate with only you need to hear and see and experience. So I'm excited for you, James, in getting your stuff out there.
Well, it is likewise, and I appreciate the kind words and the help. Debbie, before we close, for someone's listening right now, maybe they're doing chores or commuting or taking a walk and they feel disconnected or overwhelmed with life right now, just going through the motions. What is a small, simple practice that they could do in the next hour or so to reconnect with their heart consciousness?
Yeah, I felt that strongly. Oh, take a deep breath and put your hand on your heart. You can walk and nobody will know. Boy, you should know the things I do while I walk my dogs that are growth manufacturing, and nobody knows what's happening, but I'm doing all sorts of energy work. So, put your hand on your heart and take a deep breath. And the first thing is, and this is so important, I'm not alone. There are beings that their purpose is to watch after me. Maybe I don't see them, but they're there on the angelic realm and the galactic realm. My galactic family is everywhere. My lineage, my ancestors love me and thank me. I have a football field cheering me on, seeing me, and so excited about who I become. So just rest in that. And if you have a moment to go in the grass, to go in a park, your backyard, front yard, take your shoes off, put your feet on the grass. I'm not talking about earthing and all that, although it's a part of what happens. But I am saying to reconnect with your original roots and where you're going to go back to. Mother Earth is the most powerful entity. She has complete sentience. She has already ascended way before us. And just put your feet there, close your eyes and breathe. Let roots come out from your feet and go deep into the rocks, all the way into the core, the center. And when you can breathe her in and breathe her out, I have had many days where I've done this in my backyard and I've spoken to her, not out loud, although that's fine too, but just in my head, in my heart. I've shared everything with her about what's going on. Sometimes I'll ask her things for feedback or how should I handle this? And I have gained tremendous wisdom and a beautiful, unexpected relationship with her that's profound and I carry with me always. One of great respect and reverence and love, care, and reciprocity. And so, those two things, just remember you're not alone because the original wound for all of us is separation from one another, from source energy, from our unseen family that is here to take care of us, and from other human beings from our tribe. So reconnect with all that is, reconnect with the unseen that love you. And if you have another moment, find some grass, stand on the earth with your bare feet, and just talk to the great Mother Pachamama and let her give you love and wisdom and fill yourself up.
That was very beautiful. From the one and only Debbi Dachinger, thank you so much for coming on and sharing that with us today.
The one and only James O'Neill, it's been an honor and a pleasure to connect with you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me on the Journey Mindfulness podcast, where we explore the edges of consciousness, the depth of the soul, and the practices that bring it all into daily life. If you enjoyed today's conversation, follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you're ready to go deeper, I offer a free consultation to explore how we can work together through psychotherapy, quantum healing, or one-on-one transformational coaching. Visit JourneyMindfulness.com to learn more and schedule your free consultation. Until next time, stay present, stay curious, and enjoy the journey.